pick your winner right now, plus a team to watch in the SEC, who would that be, sir?
I don't know how you look past Auburn and Alabama, um, and take your pick either one to win it. I've been so impressed with Auburn losing Janai Broome and still playing the way that they're playing, losing the most. I thought he was the player of the year and most dominant player at that time when he went out, and they were playing obviously very well. Um, Alabama goes out. They played everybody, anybody, anywhere. They've battle tested it, and they still right back top 5 team in the country. I don't know how you look past either one of those two to win the league. I think everybody they're the 2 teams that I think that'll decide it. There's still some other teams to look out for, but I'm a big Florida fan as well, Missouri as well, and at the end of the day, I don't know how you look past either one of those teams. I'd be shocked. Odds on favorite has to be Auburn or Alabama to win the SEC.
Is there a team that you look at? Oh, I guess we can get to that side of it in a minute. As somebody outside of Alabama that might sneak in at the end and get across the finish line and win the SEC. But Terrell, are you of the mind right now that it's one of those teams? It's got to be Alabama or Auburn that ends up winning the league.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those 2 teams are the 2 biggest threats, and there's no getting around that. When you talk about just favorites as of right now, obviously RC just spoke to that. Just what Auburn's been able to do without their best player has been super impressive, and obviously Alabama, everybody kind of expected them to be what they are, and they've held serve so far. They look great, getting all the way healthy as well too. But just when they're hitting on all cylinders, they're one of the hardest teams in the country to stop. They're impactful. They play fast. They can light it up. They got athletes and they got a ton of guys that can go get it. So I think you got to go Auburn, Alabama for the SEC favorite right now.
Yeah, I wish I could be out there. I wish I could do something sexy and say, well, Tennessee and I love Tennessee and I love Tennessee at home. Tennessee's defense certainly has been fantastic, but we saw that Florida game. I can't unsee it. We've seen games where the offense,
Yeah.
Chaz Lanier just don't have the oomph. So you look at some of these moments, right? You look at some of these games. Auburn's been, you said it, Randolph, the fact that they've been as good as they are and they've been able to survive without Janai Broome and still be undefeated in the SEC, I think shows you a lot about the character inside that locker room for Bruce Pearl. But for me, I'm going to go Alabama. I'll just flat out say Alabama is going to win it all. They're going to win the league. That I know the defense continues to be a concern, and even the other night they gave up 87 in a win against Vanderbilt. But it's like watching a sports car. It's like watching Max Verstappen go around the track of an F1 race. I mean, it is an offensive explosion every time they go out there. Mark Sears and company have been outstanding. You saw Diabite the other day. It's just a team, to me, what Nate Oates has developed there in Alabama is nothing short of magical. And really the state of Alabama in general. I mean, I cover football for a living, and I've done it for the last 20-something years. And trust me, it matters in the state of Alabama. But what they've developed from a cultural perspective with the bouncing orange ball is nothing short of remarkable. And I give Bruce Pearl the lion's share of the credit for making that happen. To me, when Auburn got Bruce and Bruce said, okay, we're going to make this basketball thing sexy, that's when Alabama said, okay, we got to match that. If you're going to do it, we're going to do it. We're going to get Avery Johnson. Well, it didn't work, but the Nate Oates thing certainly is. And he's got the resources right now to have success. So I think I would go Alabama. As far as like a dark horse, an underdog, Jarrell, is there a one of those teams that the league is so damn deep. Is there somebody you think can make a run?
I really like Florida. I really like Florida. And to be honest with you, the last 2 years, I really like Florida. I just like their roster makeup, man. They got a ton of guys, especially perimeter players, guards that can go get it. Clayton is one of the best guards in the country. They also added Elijah Martin as well too, with Will Richard also, and then they got pieces inside as well too with Condon. So I love their pace. They get up and down. They can really fill it up. They can score a lot of the points. I think at the end of the day, the question mark is always going to be on the defensive end right now with Florida. It's just once they get into those slugfests with some of these teams like Tennessee or Auburn, when you run into those guys and you're getting heated up and you get into a low scoring game, are they going to be able to gut out and get enough stops in the trenches to gut out some of those victories in the SEC? But they're definitely a team that's going to be right around that top four area anyway, but I think it's going to end up being a really close race. So I think if they're able to kind of keep their head above water and get some good wins and maybe sneak a couple out on the road that they're not supposed to get, that they'll be in the mix as well too, possibly.
I think everybody, the reason I said Alabama and Auburn is because I think everybody else has had a slip up. And I think those two have avoided the slip up. Florida, I agree with you on Florida. I'm big on Florida. I love the makeup of their team. I think they have depth. I love their guard play. You got 3,000-point scorers in the backcourt. I love their front court. They just keep running guys at you. They're interchangeable. I like what I see from them. Obviously, they fell big to Missouri early and scrapped back, and Missouri was able to take that game in Gainesville at the end. And credit to the Tigers, Missouri, for getting that done. But A&M is a team that intrigues me. They just keep finding ways to win, man. I don't know how. I mean, as much crap as Buzz Williams has gotten over the years, that team is battle tested, and they play this physical style. I always say that Rob always laughs at me when I say this. They're not going to let you play this pretty ball movement, flowing style of basketball. They're dragging you out in the deep end. You're gonna have to get grimy and win it ugly, and that's what they do, and they just step up. With a basket stepping up, hitting the three, hitting the game winner the other night. They just find ways to win. They put you in these one-possession games where they're comfortable, and they're a team that just wouldn't surprise them as well. This league is just brutal, man. I mean, we're talking 8, 9 teams in the top 25. I mean, it's been that way. I think it'll be that way all year long. But I love the different styles of the team. And how they play, and you can go down a list and pick out every team. Ole Miss is the same, but we talked about the other day. I'm a big Malik Dia fan and the way he plays and how he changes the game and what his skill set is, and I think he's one of the best players, and that no one's talking about, in the league that's loaded the way this league is. So I'm going to say Florida or A&M will be a team that I could say just kind of, and more A&M, because I think Florida's been there. They've been their top 5 team. They've ranked really high, so I don't think that's a kind of a surprise to say them. But if I had to pick one that I say would be more of a surprise, I'd say I'd pick A&M.